Initial reactions coming soon from the boozer. Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your services. Cheers, y'all. Now, this is spoiler filled. This is the spoiler review of Halloween Kills. So if you haven't seen Halloween Kills, you don't want it spoiled, stop watching immediately and then come back when you have seen it. Or if you want spoilers, just stick around because they're coming thick and fast. Now, you may have seen my previous video with the initial reactions, and yes, there was a lot of whiskey going down my neck, so I may have gone on a lot about kill count and brutality and disappointment. Now, of course, I've had a lot more time to wallow in the good, the bad, and the ugly of this movie. And it's mostly overbalanced in the bad and ugly side. Sorry, there it is. I do think that Halloween Kills is a major disappointment. Very, very unfrightening. Nowhere near as violent or as gory as they were making out. And they weren't making this out. They were genuinely saying this is a slaughter fest. This is a stalker slash on super steroids. No, it's just Michael Myers going by the numbers as usual. Old school Michael Myers. Not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. But several of the things that I wanted to see in it did not transpire. But as I said in a previous video, you can't hold that against the movie. If it didn't put in the things that you hoped were going to be there, that's not the fault of the movie. That's your own fault for making your own false assumptions. So I will not be pointing any, waggling fingers and it's saying, guilty of this, guilty of not doing that. And let's just talk about what they have done. So we're going to dive straight in. I'm assuming now that you've seen the film, so we're just going to go, bookshot style into this. So I'm probably going to ricochet around different elements. But let's start with the flashback sequence. Thought it was great. Actually, genuinely loved that. They captured the old school sort of Dean Cundy cinematography. They captured the look of Haddonfield and the Myers house very well. And Michael Myers looked amazing with the old school mask like this one. And of course, the guy playing Sam Loomis was terrific. Terrific. I still don't know. Was that a guy that just looks like Donald Pleasance and someone that sounds like him putting the voice on? Or was there some kind of process taking place there on some other actor? I don't know. Was it a great new trick or treat Donald Pleasance mask? Wow, I want that one if that's the case. But as great as this sequence is, looks great, sounds great, visually and atmospherically, it captures it. But it's also a bit hackneyed as well, because you've got the young Officer Hawkins, Will Patton. Well, it's not Will Patton as the young version. And they chase Michael Myers into the Myers house and there's a confrontation. His partner, Michael's got the gun against his partner and he takes the shot. He takes the shot to try and kill Michael and save his partner, but ends up shooting his partner in the throat. Oh dear. But then, the way that this then transpires, because his partner dies, obviously, and he blames himself for that. Well, he took the shot. Then Sam Loomis is at the bottom of the stairs, and in a really stupid line, has he killed again? Or did he kill again? What if he did? What is it? What does it matter if he killed again? He's killed enough, hasn't he? But this is not a man. I shot him 6 times and all that kind of blame. Sitting in the room, looking at a wall, not seeing the wall, looking past the wall, looking ahead to this night. Inhumanly patient. Death has come to your little town, Sheriff. All that stuff. What he's like. Did he kill again? Oh. So what if he did? Doesn't matter. Anyway, Loomis is going to take the shot. He's surrounded by police on the front porch of the Myers house. And Hawkins knocks him to the ground, beats him, but Loomis is going to take the shot, and Hawkins doesn't let him take the shot. He's going to shoot him in the back of the head. So Hawkins, because he's survived what happened to him in Halloween 2018, being stabbed and then run over, and he's now in a hospital bed right next to Laurie. And we find that we already kind of guessed they had some kind of prior relationship, but you always have the hots for Ben Tramer. Poor old Ben Tramer, yeah. Anyway, and he confesses that this is all down to me. I should have let him die that night. So he's got a big guilt trip there, and he wants, I want to be the one that kills him and all this. You can't kill Michael Myers. We've already learned that. So why are you blaming yourself? You know, if you shot him in the back of the head, not that he wouldn't have died, would he? So I don't get this whole guilt trip thing. It's just, it's a character beat, of course, and it gives him a bit more depth and a reason why, you know, I want to be the one that kills him. But Laurie, because Laurie's blaming herself, it should have been me. I should be the one to kill him. It's because of me he's doing all this. And like, well, stop blaming yourselves. But that flashback sequence is great. I do admire that. Although, as I say, there's a hokey bit of dialogue from Loomis. But it's great just to hear Donald Pleasant's voice, however they've manufactured that. Whether they did take bits of dialogue from other Donald Pleasant's performances and stitch it all together, I don't know. But I genuinely don't know. And I do believe that Nick Castle plays the Shape in those sequences. Again, I could be wrong. Nick Castle does play Michael Myers in this movie in little homage shots, like he did in 2018. I would presume, looking at the way that Myers moves through Haddonfield in that opening, that flashback sequence, that is Nick Castle, I would say. But I stand to be corrected on that. So Hawkins, you know, he's blaming himself. He wants to get involved in all this. He's been done in. So Laurie luckily takes a back seat in this movie, which I was quite pleased about because Jamie Lee Curtis really grates on my nerves. I love her in the first movie. I love her in Halloween 2 as well, mainly because she's mostly comatose throughout that. But and this film definitely pays, you know, respect to Halloween 2 because she's pretty much out of the picture, lying in a hospital bed all this time. And only at the end, when she realises, of course, that her daughter Karen has been killed. Right, that's it. I'm gonna kill him. Anyway, racing ahead there. I said I was gonna ricochet around this. So let's move on to the other escaped convict from the big bus crash. We have a news flash that says, you know, there's still 2 escaped convicts out there. One of whom is this guy with straggly hair and a big cut face, and another guy who is obviously Michael Myers. And you see his picture on the TV screen, but it's kind of blared out. I mean, you see Michael Myers without the mask, but a couple of times in the movie, but his face is always blurred or seen from a distance, so you don't really see James Jude Courtney there, which is a bit of a shame. I'd actually like to have seen his face in this, because everyone else has seen it and are confronting him, so why the hell not us? But you have this other escaped convict, and this was a scene, you had a red herring there, because there's a sequence where the couple from the first movie, the doctor and the nurse, they've got a car in the parking lot, and she goes to get in the car. They've been at the ranch house, you know, the open mic night. We'll get on to that in a minute. And there's someone in the back of the car, so she comes out, and then the mob, led by Tommy Doyle again, with the baseball bat, come out of there and all that. And the car just takes off, goes across the street and crashes. And the mob descend on it, but he's not there. The driver, whoever was in the back of that car, is not there. But we see the other escaped convict hiding behind, you know, the boarding of a house, and he runs off into the distance. But he will then make it to Haddonfield Memorial Hospital. And the mob will... It's the incited mob, the pitchfork-wielding villagers, you know, who want to, like, evil dies tonight. Evil dies tonight. Fuck off. They turn on him, thinking he's Michael Myers. Now, anyone with a brain knows that's not Michael Myers. I mean, even, okay, their passions are aroused, their venom is stoked. People are dying all over their town, their little town, Sheriff, and they want to do something about it. That's fine. And in a way, I'm looking at this 2 ways now. I did not like this sequence because it's a large sequence where he's getting chased up the stairs to the top of the hospital. Karen, or is it Alison? Is it Alison or Karen? Do you know what? I can't remember now. Is it Laurie's daughter or her granddaughter who tries to save him? And like they lock him in like a corridor, and oh, don't worry, I'll look after you. And then they go out to confront the mob. No, just leave him. That's not Michael Myers. But the mob go crazy. This guy, who's already crazy, gets a fire extinguisher and smashes his way through a window, gets outside and plunges to his death. That was in the final trailer where you saw the hands coming down, someone falling down. I assumed it was a woman. I thought Michael pitched a nurse off the roof. No, it's this guy. Lovely nails though, hasn't he? Lovely nails for an escaped psycho. And hits the deck, brain goes everywhere. But and it's a tragic scene. And Charles Cyphers, returning Charles Cyphers, the former Sheriff Lee Brackett, who's now the Haddonfield Hospital guard, security chief or whatever. That's not Michael Myers, that's not him. And they're all like, oh my God. Now I like that because, as I think Laurie does say, he's turning us all into monsters. Well, if that was Michael's grand scheme, that's brilliant. That's a great idea. But I think they missed a trick with this. Although I think that entire set piece is a huge, lamentable red herring, which takes us out of the main story. The way it would have worked better, the way I think it would have worked better, and it's open for argument, of course, and debate, is that if the mob actually had got their hands on him and beaten this guy to death, and then they turned him over and the child said, that's not him, then they genuinely would have blood on their hands and they would have become monsters. It makes the whole thing even more emotive, I think, than this guy who is just a little MacGuffin. That's all he is, a little hairy MacGuffin, legging it around and then taking a death plunge. They're taking it out of the movie for a good 10 minutes. You've got that ridiculous black Sheriff Barker, with his big silly Stetson hat, his 10-gallon hat, who did absolutely nothing in Halloween 2018, and he does absolutely nothing again. What's the point of him being there? Why have you made such a big, brash, brazen character with his stupid hat? Marching around, with bold arrogance, delivering some rather, doom-laden sentiments in this movie, admittedly. But he doesn't do anything. He's absolutely useless. What is his purpose in this movie? He doesn't do anything. He doesn't order anything. He might stride around a few bodies and make a few comments, but he doesn't do anything. He's just a big, silly hat-wearing void, a character void, which just wanders around the frame occasionally. Useless. Is it a callback to McCready in The Thing with his big, silly hat? Just having a guy with a big, silly hat? Is it that? I don't know. If that's what it is, fine. There's no other purpose, rhyme or reason to this character being there at all. You've got, again, it's either Karen or Alison gives a bloodied knife to Laurie, who's lying in hospital bed, because they know, oh look, he's around. Though they try and keep it hidden from Laurie for a bit, because she's got quite a severe stab wound to the stomach. There's a bit I forgot to mention there previously in the other video, which I wanted to talk about, was one of the nastiest bits in it, was the operation on Laurie's stomach. Opening her up and then pulling the flesh apart and stitching it up. Oh, I was like, oh, Jesus, didn't expect that. And they were the good guys. But she gives Laurie this bloody butcher knife. Just keep this by you. You might need this. And puts it by the pillow. You're in a hospital. You're in intensive care. You've got nurses coming in and out checking on you. Do you not think someone's going to go, who's giving that fucking knife? In a hospital, it's not allowed this, I just don't get it. It's just a silly moment. At least hide the fucking thing. Don't just put it right beside her in a bloody sort of towel. Dead obvious or what? What are we going to go to next? What else are we going to discuss? Because there's so much. The open mic night. Oh, God almighty. The Tommy Doyle, Anthony Michael Hall, who I thought was terrible in this, terrible. And another one-note character that struggles to try to give some depth to a character. And this is what's symptomatic about the Blumhouse new Halloween movies. They're trying to create a mythology. They're trying to create a deeper sort of story with these characters, bringing them all back, giving them backstories. They're trying to create a mythos. But David Gordon Green and the scriptwriters have got no talent when it comes to this. It just falls flat every time. So it's all well and good me saying, well, this film works great as a basic stalker slash movie. It's great. It's trying to be more than that. They know they're trying to be more than that. But this whole sort of world building that they're doing, but it falls completely apart, I think, every time they try it. Just stick to what people want, the stalker slash, because you're failing when it comes to these bigger elements. And this Tommy Doyle and Lindsay, case in point. 40 years ago we survived. It's open fucking mic night. There must be comedians and people, and you've got a ventriloquist with a swearing doll, which is actually alright, and people singing, it's karaoke and all that, And then this dickhead gets up and ruins the whole fucking vibe. You know, well, that's Halloween. By the way, you might forget it's actually Halloween night. Barely ever gets mentioned, apart from trick-or-treating antics. But pretty much Halloween as a theme is gone. But anyway, he gets up there, and like 40 years ago, you know, Michael Myers, the bogeyman. Oh, wait, I made him sound like Quint then. It was coming back from trick-or-treating Halloween night, 1978. Guy in a white mask. Young guy, a lot younger than Mr. Hooper here. He paints the picture of what happened to them. Great. Why the hell is nurse Marion Chambers there, a returning Nancy Stevens, who I like? Why is she there? And Lindsay and Tommy, obviously. But, I mean, he's making out like, oh, we're the survivors. And let's drink to Laurie. You know, let's have a drink to Laurie Strode, because she saved me. What? Why? I'd be like, get off the fucking stage, because someone wants to sing and I want a bit of a boogie. So stop bringing the night down. This is party time. But why, like that stupid Sheriff Barker, why is he there? Why is Nurse Marion Chambers there? Why? It's the callback to all these other people I thought was charming, but they just weren't worked into the story well at all. So anyway, you've got the attack sequence with Michael is playing sort of trick or treat. Well, he's playing, I don't know, peekaboo with the kids on the swings who are wearing these Halloween 3 masks. There's a man with a white mask. He's playing peekaboo with us over there, and Lindsay, who looks gorgeous, doesn't she? She looks fantastic now. She's returned, and she's telling the kids, you know, get inside, get away, you know. And then she turns around and Michael's stood by the car and all that. And you've got the nurses in there, Marion Chambers, and you've got the doctor and nurse, black couple from the first movie, who were also in this bar, open mic night, hearing this story about, you know, what happened, you know, 40 years prior. Because that's when they hear on the news that Michael Myers has escaped. Oh, what a coincidence. I've just been talking about it. And now, he's escaped. Well, who'd have thought that? It's crass the way it's been put together. Very, very slipshod. And so that's where the impetus for the mob being built up begins. Tommy leading the way. But Michael's attack on the car, he kills, well, all 3 of these people, the nurse and the doctor, who apparently are a real nurse and doctor, apparently. But they're in different costumes. The nurse is dressed up as a doctor, and the doctor is dressed up as a nurse. Or so, I don't know. I can't remember what it is now. But so they get killed. But you've got Marion with a revolver, and she's shooting at Michael, and then of course she clicks on empty. But her line is, "This is for Sam Loomis." Click. Oh shit. What do you mean this is for Sam Loomis? In this timeline, Michael didn't kill Dr. Loomis. So why is she saying that? It just doesn't make any sense. It took me out the movie. I've said all along that Halloween 2, which is there, the poster is there, and the mask for Halloween 2 is over there somewhere. I've always said that Halloween 2 should exist in this timeline. They got around the whole brother-sister angle with a little throwaway line in Halloween 2018. Wasn't it a brother and sister or something? No, that was something they made up for the press. Perfect. And Laurie's memories could all be skewed. And like, well, yeah, I think she may remember it that way, but it's not the case. You could easily gloss over that, because then she's more traumatized by the events of a longer night of terror at the hands of the Shape. More people dying makes it her Odyssey, the big survivalist, a little bit more convincing. But you would also then give, because Loomis supposedly dies in that explosion, if you obviously jettison, you know, Halloween 4 onwards away, he obviously dies in an explosion in the hospital at the end. So quite clearly, there would be a reason why Nurse Chambers, who is present, she's outside the hospital when that whole thing blows up in Halloween 2. There, this is for Sam Loomis. That would make sense. Otherwise, why is she fucking saying it? I just don't get it. And that's symptomatic of a script which is terrible. Terrible. It is, David Gordon Green, who, please, don't you mess with The Exorcist, and don't you dare try to remake Suspiria, which you've talked about. Don't you dare. You are not a good director of horror films. Yes, this film's going to make money. Yes, Halloween 2018 made money. A good friend of mine, Imelda Gonzalez, told me, she quoted a friend of hers who said, after watching Halloween Kills, I now feel like I should apologise to Halloween 2018. I think that's perfectly how I feel as well. Because if anything, this film has made the rather naff and crass Halloween 2018 a better movie, even with its Dr. Sartain stupid tomfoolery. This is just a rote by the numbers stalk and slash movie with huge ideas and illusions of grandeur, which it does not have the ability to meet in any way, shape or form. Its modus operandi, stalk and slash with a few little red herrings dotted around, is tried and trusted. You know, that kind of works. I don't mind that. But stop with the whole backstory and world building. That's not working at all. Now, I'm intrigued as to where we're going to go, because of course Karen dies at the end of this. They talked about Michael sitting in the window, looking out the window and all that, not seeing the window, looking past the window, looking ahead to Halloween ends. and she, of course, ends up in the movie looking out the window, and Michael, who we thought, well, she thought he was dead, the mob descended on him, which we'll talk about in a minute. And then Michael comes up behind her and hacks her to bits. Yeah, and then the movie ends. You know, that's it. But we know that Halloween Ends is going to be set several years after the events of this movie. Now, although I'm hugely disappointed and let down and deflated by Halloween Kills, I'm still massively looking forward to seeing where they go with it. I really don't know what they're going to do. This was meant to be the Empire Strikes Back of this trilogy, the darker one, a few revelations, a few shock kills, people you didn't expect to die have died, like Karen. It's now abundantly clear that Michael is supernatural. He always fucking was. He always was, you know. Stop this. I shot him 6 times. I shot him in the heart. He's not human. The mob, in the rather rushed finale to this movie, Lonnie's dad. No, hang on. Yeah, no, Lonnie himself. Lonnie, get your ass away from there. Like, he's the father of Cameron. Cameron is Alison's boyfriend, the dickhead from the party in the first movie, but also the guy that finds Hawkins' body. Hawkins lying on the road and alive, but blood spewing out of his throat, and he tries to, keep the blood in. It's quite a gory sequence, that, and he calls for help. So he's the one who gets Hawkins to the hospital. Fine, but Lonnie's. Hang on, yeah, Lonnie. This is getting confusing. Lonnie is his dad. Lonnie, Cameron, and Alison go to the Myers house because Lonnie's worked out with all the people, all the killings take place. He's going back to his childhood home. Oh, he's got a map out the killings. Michael's just fucking killing people anywhere he is. He got driven out to the Strode abode. That was a bit off the beaten track for him, wasn't it? His direct. How are you going to work out that? You know what I mean? He's going in a line straight back to bollocks. Michael's GPS. Fuck off. But anyway, Michael is there. He's killed the gay couple, Big John and Little John, that lived there. These two are straight out of Modern Family. They are, and they get played. They get tricked by trick or treaters. The same kids that wear these masks, the Halloween 3 masks, and but they come out and they go, right, you little shits, do you know what house this is? This is the old Myers house. And then the kids don't know. And they said, this is where Michael Myers, the bogeyman, stabbed his sister in the tits. Well, that was a really, really crap little line to use, because you wouldn't say that. Whatever happened to Judith Myers? Yeah, she was stabbed. Yeah, but in the film, yes, she's topless and she gets stabbed in the chest. And one of the only little moments of gore in the original 1978 Halloween is that moment, and you're seeing it through the little clown mask eye holes that young Michael's wearing. And she gets stabbed clearly between the breasts, so blood all wells up there. So we know, there was boobs in that shot, yeah. For him to say that, she was stabbed in the tits, it's just a really stupid line, which I just thought, again, why did you put that in there? That was, I know he's trying to get his own back on the kids and try and frighten them, but that was a needlessly stupid, and again, using that word crass, it was a crass line. Terrible, just terrible. And these two, in a big build-up, because they're living in Myers' old house, someone gets in, it's the shape, it's a bloody handprint on the door frame, someone's in the house. So we then get like a lengthy build up to a really lousy payoff. Okay, one of them, whether it's Big John or Little John, I can't remember which one it is now, gets his eyes gouged out in a quite crucially groovy, gory scene. But then the following killing is just completely crap. But our trio go in there. Lonnie goes in first, and they've got a gun. We hear gunshots, so the others running after him. His own son, Cameron, and Alison, and these two are sort of estranged boyfriend girlfriend sort of thing. And in they go, but Lonnie's been stuffed into the attic door, the trap door. He's hanging out of that, like a bit like when she found her father's body in Halloween 2018, stuffed into the cupboard. Just 1 second. And then Cameron gets killed, he gets beaten up, and he gets his head. A lot of Bannister stuff takes place, which I couldn't really work out what the hell Michael was doing. He rams his head through the banisters, through the balustrades. The banisters are actually the long piece on the top. The balustrades are what come down, apparently. And he rams his head through these things, and he's just shaking his head around. And like, he's already booted Alison down the stairs, and she's broken her leg down the stairs. So you get all this head shaking about, and then Michael at the top of the stairs. A nice callback shot. Actually, thinking about it, I only thought afterwards, that was a harking back to what you saw in 78. But it wasn't anywhere near as good, if you know what I mean. Because only afterwards I went, they were harking back to that. And then he comes down the stairs. But he does stop, and because you're thinking, he hasn't actually killed him, has he? He's still alive. And he just looks at the head there. And I thought, because his head is just lumicing out of the balustrades, he's going to just go, and take the head off, which would have been awesome. No, he just then goes, fuck. He comes out, he chases Alison. Karen is outside waiting for him. There's been a pitchfork we've seen outside that door throughout the movie. She gets the pitchfork, rams it in his back. Brilliant. The mask gets wrenched off him, and he's standing there and all that. And then Karen runs off with the mask. You want this back. So she runs off. You only see James Jude Corley in a kind of blur. And she runs around into an alleyway. Michael goes after her, harking back to his street pursuance of victims, potential victims, in the original movie. And he's confronted by Tommy, fucking hell, and the mob, all with baseball bats and knives and guns and everything, and he stands there, Michael in the mask, because he picks the mask back up, puts it back on, and he's like just looking around at everyone who's surrounded him. And I really thought, wow, here we go, this is going to be the one now. He's going to be like Jean-Claude Van Damme, he's going to be like Jackie Chan, he's going to take these people down one by one as they come at him. No, the mob do beat the shit out of him, or so you think. Beaten, shot, stabbed, beaten, lying there, crushed and broken, dead on the deck. And then the hand comes back to life, picks up a knife. Sheriff Lee Brackett, ex-Sheriff Lee Brackett gets his throat slashed. Everyone gets taken down one by one. Tommy gets his own baseball bat taken off him, and his brains beaten out. A bit like Lucille in Walking Dead, going to action on someone's cranium. But it's crap. It's done in like a sort of elegiac montage fashion, this takedown of the mob. And you're like, really? Where's the excitement? Where's the suspense? It's gone. It's drained again completely. Just doesn't work for me. John Carpenter's score, I'm playing it now in the background. I'm playing it very quietly, I hope, so we'll get away with it. Is short, a lot more sparse than the score for 2018. It's got some great cues in it, some great action cues. The main theme now has to be honest, I don't like this. The main theme now has a sort of ethereal choir voice, vocal background to it, which kind of reminds me of some of the stuff in Exorcist 3, which I discussed in a video just previously. It kind of reminds me a bit of that, like the choral work in that. Doesn't really fit with this. He's gone back to a lot of piano work. The original score for Halloween, the original main theme was done on piano. Then Halloween 2, it synthesized He used synth a lot in the original movie score for Halloween 1978, but the main theme was done on piano. Then from Halloween 2 onwards, it was all synth and keyboards and electronic. But for this, it sounds like he's gone back to the piano again. And I like that. But I'm just not fussed on the ethereal voice backing. The angelic background. It just doesn't seem to go with this theme and this movie at all. I don't get it. But the score is shorter. It's only about 44 minutes long on the initial release. But like for Halloween 2018, you just know damn well that they're going to bring out the complete score in about a year's time. So you're going to get the full score. In the film, I think they repeat a lot of cues anyway. So I think this actually is quite a shorter score than he came up with originally for 2018. But it's okay. It's passable. I don't think it's nowhere near his best. I think there is a nice hospital sound to it, because I always loved the Halloween 2 soundtrack the most because of that glistening sort of scalpel sharp, crystalline sort of synth clarity to it, which reminds me of hospital monitors and machines and the sterile nature of a hospital. And there is an element of that in this movie. I just wish that Michael had gone to the bloody hospital and done the rampage in there, because this was touted as being, this is a bloodbath, a massacre. He's going to take out so many people. The attack on the firefighters at the start was nowhere. Basically, you saw the trailer, you've seen that sequence, all of it. There was nothing added to it at all. Okay, you've got the Bride of Frankenstein moment where the firefighter's leaning down to try and bring up his friend, and it's Michael's hand that comes up. And nice little touch that, but and all the weapons that the tools that they use, machine grinders to cut through crashed up cars and stuff like, and the Hannigan tool. He uses all them. But you've seen the trailer, you've seen that sequence. There was nothing extra to it at all, making a mockery of that whole, I'm going to launch an online petition to get that sequence removed because I'm a soon-to-be firefighter and I think it's offensive. Anyway, the other bloodletting, the fluorescent tube in the old lady's throat, the drone using old lady, and the butchery of her husband, who's put over the table, and then Michael selects a variety of knives and just sticks them in his back whilst she's bleeding to death and watching it. That was kind of a more sadistic edge to Michael. And then he walks out and just leaves her, so you presume he just bleeds to death there, because he doesn't go back and return to kill her. Michael, as a supernatural force in this, his trickery, his little games he plays with victims, there are elements of that there, but it's, again, David Gordon Green is not a good director, and he does not bring any of this to shine in real spine-tingling moments. The film isn't scary, folks. It's not scary. Halloween is genuinely terrifying. Watch it again. It's still just as terrifying now as it was when you first ever saw it. It still has that Halloween feel to it, that vibe, the bogeyman, the shape. Every subsequent movie after this just tries to build and build, but neglects what made the original so unique and special. So, he's not as scary. He's more violent, perhaps. But again, if that's the selling point of this movie, you're going to be disappointed again. Yes, there's heads getting crushed, there's eyes getting thrust into the back of someone's skull, there's fluorescent tubes in people's throats, there's a nasty throat slashing. You've got all that, but you had all that in the first movie as well, in 2018. This one is not is no more violent than that movie. So, what else can I pick apart? Because I've still got beer left. I did like the opening titles, actually, where, again, you've got the same orange font, and the titles are on one side, and you've got pumpkin symbolism on the other side. This was an array of pumpkins which are actually beginning to burn and smoulder and cave in, and the smoke coming up in flames. That was actually pretty good. I quite liked that. The shot of the very young Michael Myers looking out the window, which you saw in the trailer, that is almost subliminal, that in the movie. I really thought there'd be a bit more of that, actually. They're talking about Michael just staring out the window and all that, and you just see it briefly. There is behind the scenes shot of Michael Myers sitting in his sister's chair looking in the mirror. Well, it's a dressing table in the old house. Why the gay couple would have that still there, I don't know. But anyway, but in this very provocative, evocative shot, Michael Myers is sitting there in what you presume to be Judith's chair, looking into this mirror, just staring back at his reflection. Well, that's not in the movie. Oh, it would have been great, that. Unless that's going to be something that you're going to see maybe in Halloween Ends. Because it's just a reflective moment. Pardon the pun. What's he thinking? Is he remembering back? Why does he want to go back to the old house anyway? What's he going to do once he gets there? He went back there in 78 and ate a dog. And that's it. Didn't do anything else there. Then he goes back again in this movie, kills the new occupants. Is he just going to move back in? Is that what he wants to do? He just wants to go home. You know, but all these bastards are getting in the way, you know. The call to arms for the Haddonfield militia, the mob, I thought was terrible. Because Anthony Michael Hall is just so garbage. They're driving round, he's got Lindsay in the car as well. His use of the phrase, heads up, shut up. I mean, if there's a glimmer of payoff to that line, when he sticks his head up, he gets it smashed in with his own fucking baseball bat. So good night, Tommy. Stick your head up, you know. Heads up, everybody. Oh, fuck off. And, you know, if you're not part of us, go inside, lock your doors, stay inside your house, or join us. We're going to take down Michael Myers. Evil dies tonight. Oh, fuck off. It's just done so badly. If you were out that night and this idiot come driving by ordering you, I'd be like, who the fuck do you think you are? Piss off. Fucking vigilante mob. Don't worry, I'll look after myself. You, heads up, man. Fuck off. That's my head in. Sorry, folks, I know the contrast keeps I haven't figured out this camera yet, where there must be a setting. If I turn my head, woo, didn't happen then, did it? The contrast and brightness changes, and I haven't figured out how to stop that happening. Well, there you go. Maybe that's the curse of David Gordon Green. He definitely thinks that he's a big primal mover and shaker, a primary alpha movie maker now. And he's the master of suspense and terror. He does think that. He's so not. He's so not. Really, hand on the heart. You may have enjoyed this movie. You may have had a good time with it. It's just a little gore fest. Simple as. But were you genuinely terrified? Were you on the edge of your seat? If you were, I am made up for you. I wish I was. I was so wanting to be blown away by this, and I so wasn't. I was so deflated, disappointed. Each sequence, each set piece, I thought, the choices you've made there, the way you filmed that. Okay, Lindsay making a getaway from the sort of merry-go-round massacre, where all these masks are put on the victims. This is for Sam Loomis. Click. And again, the hark back to her only in this timeline, her only encounter with Michael Myers would be at the start of Halloween 1978, where they're going to Smith's Grove in the rainstorm, and everyone says, well, let them wander around at night. Pop to the main gate. Move! And lit up by the rear lights, he springs up on the roof of the car. Well, you got that exact same thing. That is lazy. So you're telling me that you brought this character back from their one and only encounter with Michael Myers to go through the exact same encounter again 40 years later. You might think that's poetic. I think that's just crap and lazy. Totally lazy. Disappointing. Because she's a good character. If you're going to bring her back, give her something to do. You gave her nothing to do apart from the stupid line, which has no basis, no foundation. This is for Sam Loomis. Who, in this timeline, Michael didn't actually do anything to. So, don't get it. This is the shot that Sam Loomis should have taken in our flashback sequence, but that dozy young Officer Hawkins stopped him, and now he feels really guilty about it because, if he had let him take the shot, all this would have happened. Yes, it would have happened because he wouldn't have died then either, would he? Why does Michael give up? They haven't resolved this yet. His arrest after his initial killing spree in 78, why does he gets beaten to the ground as there's an entire mob of policemen in front of him with all guns on him. But he's been shot 6 times and fallen off a balcony with no issue whatsoever. He's not going to worry about this now, is he? Why does he give up? Why? The more you try to expand on the mythos and do some world building, and there's even an element where, some of the kids, who is it now? No, hang on a minute. It's the two cops at the start. It's the young Officer Hawkins and the other copper, the one who gets killed, the one that he kills, I should say, but it takes the shot. They talk about, I know Michael Myers. I've known him, you know, and he always was a strange kid. I don't mean he took wings off butterflies, but he just sat staring, you know. Why are you doing all this? If you're going to actually give us some reason, some raison d'etre for Michael doing what he's doing, you haven't got a clue where you're going to go with it. You're trying to add a little bit there, but really, you don't know what you're going to do with Michael Myers. Should you explain it? Should he speak? Should he do something else? Are we going to learn why he's doing it? You're hinting. You're trying to hint. Laurie's saying, you know, the more he kills, the more he transcends. What's he becoming, sort of thing. You're building up to something. Well, you damn well better deliver, because you did not deliver with Halloween Kills. You said it was going to be, this is the Empire Strikes Back. This changes everything. It didn't change a fucking thing. It's exactly the same as it was. He's still out there. He's still going to kill. Is he going to just sit off in the bushes for a bit now and just wait? I don't know. Until, you know, some secret, silent alarm triggers him off again, you know. The mystery of the first movie and the magnificence of Michael Myers is that sort of nebulous sort of limbo that you don't know what's making him tick. And the whole thing that how come he keeps getting up again? Why don't they address that? You know, the fact that he was shot 6 times, fell off a balcony, then got beaten and arrested. They never talk about any of that. Like, let's see some police reports. You know, the motherfucker was shot 6 times. I know I keep saying it. I say it almost as much as Dr. Sam Loomis does in Halloween 2. I shot him 6 times. I shot him in the heart. God, I miss Donald Pleasance. And at least you do get a call back there, which is nicely done, nicely handled. Although I don't like that line. Has he killed again? What do you think? He's a fucking psychotic supernatural bogeyman. Of course he's killed again. Actually, Doctor, I killed him. Oops. But anyway, folks, there's a lot more to discuss. There really is. Then at least there's a good thing about that. It's an ongoing debate. These films, we spend so long looking forward to them that when they come out, they've got a lot to live up to. Inevitably, I'm saying I'm disappointed with this. That perhaps that was maybe the sad path that I was going to go down anyway. Although Bond did not disappoint me after the phenomenal wait for that. Bond, I thought, delivered. I know not all of you agree. Husky Dog's just arrived. But I'm now slurping water noisily. So I'll slurp some lager noisily. Anyway, it is what it is. I will obviously watch it again, and I may find more. Once your expectations are lower, there's a lot of truth in this. Once you kind of know what the parameters are, what it does do and what it doesn't do, you go in second time round or third time round, and you know what you're going to get, and there might be another level to it, which do you know what? I'm actually enjoying that now, which I didn't even think about first time round. You might get that. I wish the mob had actually got their hands on that other escaped prisoner and done him in, because then it would be more impactful. Oh God, what's he done to the town? Halloween Ends would be several years later, and Haddonfield would be an absolute ghost town. They'd just be like, they're all in shock about what's happened, and the hand that they played in it as well by killing not so much an innocent man, but the wrong man. I mean, he is an escaped convict as well, a psychotic convict as well. But he throws himself off, and that lets them off. And that stupid Sheriff Barker with his big silly hat in that mob sequence where they're glimmering up the stairs in the hospital, and Laurie gets down. She just got out of bed and she gets fucking injured again. Like a wound gets reopened and the mob pushing past and all that. You've just got that silly sheriff just sitting on the stairs like that, you know, and like in shock because he's powerless to stop the mob. He's fucking powerless right from the word go. He's done nothing. Get him out of the fucking movie, or kill him off at the start of the next movie. Do something with him at least. Folks, I have been over Shabby Kilt-Man. Please keep it Kilty, keep it Celtic. I swear to God, I wasn't going to rant in this video. I'm not really. It's just fun. Passion. It's passion. Anyway, folks, I'm going to see you all later. How many times did you shoot him again? How many?